chemicals. Chemicals, chemistry. Yeah, chemistry. Yeah, they want to see if chemistry works, man. Chemistry. Okay, you know the chemistry between this people and that people, and the chemistry between these people and that people. That's like a cliche, man. It's like an American cliche. You never heard of cliche? You know? Hey, man, I can't believe you said that. That's so cliche. Clear shade. Yeah, man. You know the shade? Okay. We're going to get serious now, man. We got to take the clear shade off. Okay, so you clear the shade. You know, now you open your eyes, you can see. Okay, cool. Well, let's get serious, man. We say, hey, you know, the greenhouse out there in the desert for the Mars mission program, you know. They say, hey, what's in your missile silos, man? Missile silos, you know. Missile silos, you see? Navy, N-I-V, missile, you see? And then we go, hey, Miss Sellers, Miss Robert, Mr. Robert, Miss Sellers, you miss the sailors out there in the desert. You know, you try to sell stuff that wasn't yours and information that wasn't yours. You kind of messed a few things up. And say, hey, you miss the sailors? You miss the United States Navy yet? You know, and the rest of the Army military? You know, you had that 4-year husband. You know, 4 years in the Army, man, doesn't do much. You know, but we're going to save you too. It's for everybody, you see? So, let's talk to the sailors. Well, from this sailor that's not a sailor sailing out of America, you know? You say, oh, man, you know, that's what you meant? Yeah, it's cliche. Cliche, you know? It's so cliche, you know? You know, clear sails, clear weather, you know? Hey, you know, red sky in the morning, sailor take warning, you know? Red sky in the morning, sailor take warning, yeah. Yeah, red sky, man. You read this guy? You thought you read this guy? Hey, red sky in the morning, you know? And your sadness, you thought you read this guy from all the sadness you was giving him, from all the problems you was giving him, all the stuff you were doing wrong to him. You say, hey, red sky in the morning. You read this guy? You thought you could read this guy in the morning? All the misery stuff he was doing? I said, well, you know, that's so cliche. Let's clear the sailors, man. Okay? So here we go. Clearing the board, whiteboard, man. Let's wipe it off. Okay, starting over. Man, I keep saying that, man. Here, let's do it. Let's help you out. You know, you got a black heart and a black mind. Here you go. You ready? Windshield wipers. Okay. Now let's talk. You see, you got a green room, man. What's a green room? Well, you know, we had a green room. You get a green screen in the background. You can put anything you want in the background, except the problem is, I'm not walking around in a green screen, man. I'm walking around the planet, you know. I'm like, hey, let's check this out. Let's go to a greenhouse, huh? And it's a greenhouse. This is, well, you know, I talked to the Army guy and the Air Force guy over there, man. And he says, hey, man, that's pretty cool stuff, man. I said, yeah, man, we're going to walk around the mall. Hey, you know, this mall is empty right now. We got a bunch of people talking, spreading ideas and stuff, and communicating. He's like, man, we shut the mall down, man, and made it like a educational institution, you know? You know, EIO, man. You know, McDonald had a farm? No, he didn't, man. There's deserts out there. What do you mean McDonald had a farm? No, he didn't. There's a desert out there, man. Out there in the desert, there ain't no farm, okay? And there's no food, no animals, no nothing. But old McDonald, man, he had a farm for education. Educational intelligence, you know? They say EIO, you know? Educational intelligence. Oh, you know? Oh, yeah, roll around the world, man. Let's get it right in mind. He says, well, you know, we had this water runoff, man. You know, the runoff effect, you know? You know, when I was a kid, man, I walk around in the river. I could be waist deep in water. I look down and see my feet, my toes, man, and the pollution, man, is running off in the river. You know, it's killing the horseshoe crabs and all kind of stuff, man. I'm like, oh, gotta be kidding me. And the guys in the desert ain't figured that out yet? I says, okay, let's give them dessert, man. You guys are eating the dinner, you know? The diplomatic intelligence, you know? New nation education restorations, that's dinner, okay? Now we're gonna give you the dessert. They go, Mom, we're gonna give it in the desert? No, Mom, we're not gonna give you a desert of dry lands. We're gonna give you a dessert. It's gonna be so good, man. It's gonna be like sugar water. They go, what's sugar water? Southwest, man. Intelligence, you know, the programming systems. We made all these languages, man, to kind of battle against all this biblical Babylon language and people just babbling on about BS, you know. All the schools are messed up. So we're like, hey, man, how about the sailors' wise system? You know, the sailors. Amen to the U.S. Navy, huh? It says, hey, when they rode those horses from the Pony Express all the way across the desert, they ride us so fast, man. They had to ride so fast because there's no water and no hay. Nothing to feed the horses, man. So it says, man, what are you going to do, man? He says, well, you know, If you ride those horses all the way across the desert and you make it, and you get water on the other side, then they'll live. Oh, well, what are we going to do about the middle of the desert, man? We'll figure it out later, but just make sure we keep communicating. And then the EMP, electromagnetic pulse, it faded away, so we could start using electromagnetics and electricity again with wireless communications and stuff. And now we really got a good chance, We got a good chance. You need a chance card? I'll give you a chance card from God, And I go, man, that's pretty good information. And where did you get that from? I said, you talk to God? Okay. And he says, man. So they out there in the desert, man. They say, hey, we need hay for the horses, man. They say, hey, man. Hey, man. Amen. American men. He says, well, America, American media, educational nations. Oh, yeah, 50 states. Oh, there's 5 books all around, man. And if we get it right with the common denominators, then we get 10 commandments. And you get 10 commandments, you get one big continent. And that's when we're on 11. We're having a one-to-one with God, with each other. So he says, man, what can we do in the desert with the greenhouse? He says, well, I'll tell you about landfills, man. Landfills, they take all the trash, they put it in the landfills and says, well, it'll be good land later. After it decays a little bit. We're like, well, they tried that in the desert, man. That's what they should be doing. You got plenty of trees and stuff here with mulch and, fertilizer and stuff. Why are you making landfills when you should be making landfills in there? It was a wasteland out there, man. No, it was mistakes out there, It's some mistakes out there, Yeah, They call it wings of thunder, man. What do you mean, You got to need a tow truck, TOW, turn around, they towed all their ideas back out of the desert because, they just kind of mothballed it. They mothballed it because they didn't know what they was doing, So that's why you got to recycle. You got everybody recycling stuff, man. You take the recyclables out, you put the biodegradables in. You take the biodegradables, you ship them out the desert, you start burying them with fertilizer and stuff. Free fertilizer, man, recycling. Taking care of the planet, all at the same time. But then, when they water the crops and stuff, some of the pollution and stuff that's in that trash, it drains out into the water. And that's why we made sewage systems, Some from the Romans, man. Redirecting the sewage stuff, like catacombs, And then they redirect the light, man. The light of God is going to save the world, man. The light of God, You look up to the heaven, you see the light of God. A Hubble telescope, you look in the past and you go into the future. Oh, the past? Yeah, the water that went down and watered the crops, and it drains down because the elevation is higher than the sea level, so the water naturally is going to drain down. And then you got the catacombs, little, sewer ditches and stuff down there that's going to catch the water. And then you reflect the light down in there, man, It says, hey, even in darkness, man, you got the moon, man. What's the moon? Well, mankind's 2 open eyes. Nationally. Nationwide, man. This is how, man, nationwide, eyes wide open, It says, oh, man. Yeah, so when you got, the sun reflecting off of the moon, they put all, like, glittery stuff, man, all over the moon, man. So in the future, those aliens and angels, man, they're like, man, let's see if they'll make it, man. Okay, cool, see you later. It says, hey, we left them everything they needed, even satellites. The sun reflect off the moon, they look at that, and it says, why'd they do that? And it says, well, we got a Hubble telescope, man, let's do that. Okay, now, if you make it something like that, when I was a kid, man, I was at the Yaki house. The Yaki house. Well, what's the Yaki, man? You got Yaki, you get it? Y'all key to the kingdom, y'all key to the legend, to the map, the societies and stuff. Yaki house, man, you get it? And, I was in my room, man, and I was like, man, I want to watch this TV stuff, man. It's a pretty cool science show on TV, man. So I took a mirror, broke it up, and I put a mirror here, a mirror there, down the hall this way, like a miniature version of the Hubble telescope, so I could watch TV from my room, laying in my bed, I said, man, that's a lazy man way of making a telescope. I says, man, hey, it worked though. Didn't they build the Hubble telescope out there in outer space? He says, well, if you could reflect light off a TV like that, that's a telepathic vision. Okay, now most people can do that, with the television, but not a lot of people can do it with their minds. So that's why I made television to help everybody out, American Indian stuff, So like, you can reflect the light, in the darkness against the moon, and from the moon into the earth in the night, in the darkness. Just like you could reflect the light, with mirrors and laser stuff, from the sun during the day, okay, into the caves, where the water's stored to evaporate it. But you got to put a foundation down there, with charcoal and stuff, filtrations, so when that light goes to reflect and evaporate that water, and it starts going out the steam holes and getting into the greenhouse effect, to make those watery stuff, and protect the animals and everything else, because you're going to have polluted steam coming up. It'll kill the animals too. So you got to filtrate it, and if you don't, it's like the missile silo, And that's what you're saying. Hey, you miss the silo, man. You miss intelligent loving education. Because if you don't love those birds and animals enough in that greenhouse and not pollute the waters that's going down underneath, okay, then they're going to blow up on you, okay? That's what the movie with the birds was about, And it says, so if you filtrate the water and then the natural sunlight comes in there, a natural drain down, filtrate, make a good foundations, and the rock of God, the truth of God, the good of diplomacy, even with the peoples and the animals and everything else, it's based on a great foundation, you make a good foundation under the, some filtration stuff, so when the greenhouse effect comes down, it filters the water, it goes into the catacombs and stuff, it stores it on the ground, and then reflect the light in there, and it starts evaporating the water, it moves through the tunnels and stuff. Why? Because cooler air is thicker, natural, natural, a natural siphoning device, because cooler air is thicker. Where's the hot air going to go? It's going to raise up, man, like the spirit of God, restoring the earth, so the light goes down there, it evaporates in the water, it moves and finds the little crannies and stuff, it goes up, and boom, it starts running down. Then out there you have, like, a little bit of solar powered fans to kind of fluctuate the humidity and moisture, and circulate the stuff through the greenhouse effect, and then you don't got your stuff blowing up when that fan comes on, It's, well, we'll make spark-free fans, fans that don't blow up, when you turn them on, it's no non-ignition fans, and it's like, well, you could do that too, but accidents happen, so safety first. Now you know what I mean when I said I was preaching. I said, hey, safety first, that way with some of these people in these other countries, they don't have enough money to buy those expensive fans or flame-free, spark-free kind of crazy stuff, and all this other stuff, so they're going to try and do it poorly, and they're going to do it poorly, then we need them not to have poor judgment, so sound judgment is sound wisdom, and sound wisdom is like the Southwest, for sound education like the Southeast. Now you got two legs to stand on, the Southwest and the Southeast, to lift up the minds and the hearts of America. And you said, man, that's how the land works. It said, man, didn't you read the Bible? It told you there's American Indians who are going to tell you how to work the lands in the educational system. And it said, can we do it? Why? Why ask why, You say, why, God? Well, because of the good of diplomacy, we say, yes, we can,